Class warfare the only resort to right-wing doom? It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet. Anyway, folks, we are going to have a great program for you today. What kind of program is it going to be? Well, you're going to see. But before and without any further ado, let's move it on to El Studio with Jack Van Bever and Howard Reynolds. Guys?
Well, no, that's the right way to introduce things. Jack always goes first.
Thank you.
What kind of a show are you going to have today? A radio show. I know that answer.
Yes. We're going to have a great show. How you guys doing this morning?
Well, here it is Monday morning at the radio, the 2nd of February, 2026, and we are all set for this great show. Jack's got some stuff here. He's been out at the protest. He went out to the protest Saturday, and I'll let him tell you about that.
All right, sounds good.
I went out to the Ice Out for Good LaPorte, and was able to speak there, and I warned the people that the ICE raids and stuff were a prelude to crush dissent, not just to round up the immigrants. They're using that as the excuse, although it's a serious matter, very serious and very unfair matter. But they were planning to escalate that to to put fear into the people's minds and hearts, and try to silence us from asserting our rights. And from what I understand, this weekend over there in Spring, Kingwood Indivisible kicked A.
Yeah, they did.
And basically shook old Crenshaw up and made him make a hasty exit as the people outside stood their ground when the police pressured them. They asserted their First Amendment rights and stood their ground, and the police left. And that's turning the tide. That's something really good, really going on.
Well, here's another debate about the whole thing. Texas and Florida have more immigrants, 2.4 million each, I believe. And Minnesota only has, 160,000?
Yeah.
So it's not about immigration. It's not. It's about terror, like you were saying, Jack.
Yes, they're trying to. It's using threats of terroristic threats against the people to silence them.
It's just all kinds of wrong.
It is sad.
Yeah, and I was reading that they bought a property in Hutchins, Texas, for a detention center. And looks like they've got some design for Baytown and San Antonio too.
Concentration camps.
Yeah, the concentration camps
they
are being assembled. Give me your papers.
Well, here we go.
So anyway, on your show today, Texas politics just delivered a jolt. Constituents refused silence. Voters rewrote electoral math, and investigative reporting pierced the fog around Trump's crypto dealings. This show connects the dots between grassroots resistance, electoral realignment, and elite corruption, revealing a democracy pushing back in real time. Egberto, I also had a little note there. A person in my community was picked up by ICE, and he's a Canadian immigrant, and he was picked up in Conroe about 4 months ago, and is still in detention in Crenshaw, Texas. And we were there protesting because it broke up the family. It broke up his family. He's in detention, and we were out there representing.
It is sad, Jack, because it's amazing what people would use as the products to make a dollar, right? This has less to do with immigration and more to fund the prison industrial complex, make a lot of people make money from building prisons. I mean, we don't have to build prisons. We can keep, these are nonviolent folks, right? We can keep them out of jail as they are processed to even to leave. They remain working, remain productive U.S. citizens, but instead they become an expense to us because we have to pay. I think the average is $750 a day. Seven hundred and
Man,
fifty dollars a day.
you know
To
what? I got something to say about that
go
because
ahead, say it, please.
if America is going to make the laws that put people in jail, then they should be paying to imprison them, not private industries, because that's just biting into taxpayer money to make a profit margin for a few corporate
Yeah,
jerks. That's
exactly.
all I can say.
Exactly, and that is the hurtful part, right? They break up.
Yes,
They can call them undocumented. That's fine. They break
if
up
they're
these families. Go ahead.
if they're going to make the laws that put people in jail, then they need to be running the jails. Quit advocating their responsibility out to somebody else. Quit shipping it out. State government and federal government take responsibility for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
In the age of irresponsibility?
Howard,
Are you
Howard
kidding me?
laughs. Howard laughs.
Yeah,
Hey,
put
but
that,
by the way,
put,
Jack, I saw your picture out there at the rally. You look great, man. All those folks around you. That is great. I mean, uh,
yeah, yeah.
the
That
good
was the
thing.
people we were representing for the fella I told you that got picked
Yeah.
up. You know, this was Trump's little war with Canada that got him in trouble.
Hmm.
So,
It is a shame. But anyway, do you have one of your soliloquies, my brother?
well, I think we've gone on long enough. So no, it wasn't real coordinated. So this morning, so I'm gonna pass
Well,
on that.
you're gonna pass on it
I
today.
was
But
just gonna.
anyway,
I was just gonna. I just wanted to talk about what went on this weekend, and basically, congratulate and salute the people in Spring and Kingwood and Laporte for standing up for in defiance of tyranny and in defense of democracy.
before we go though, Jack, you actually spoke at that rally. What did you tell them?
Well, I warned them about the creep of the ICE actions actually being a prelude to to crush dissent of the people. And I also, I laid out a little bit about how this all happened, neoliberalism and the Powell memo, its effect on them, and also warned them that, it looks like to me that the economy is probably going to tank at some point in the future. And because I'm seeing the headlines every day of companies shutting down and laying off their workers, and it's to the point it's past trying to control inflation. I see it as falling, and I suggested that for the future, some good old put in a good old victory garden, some vegetable gardening because I see some food insecurity out there too.
Look,
So
I
it's
think that's a very good thing for people to know because with what they're doing with the labor market and the undocumented workers who are the ones who really cosechar nuestro that actually uh, reap or crop that sort of stuff. It is amazing. Now, and you're correct about that. Now, here's the thing. There is, and I haven't verified this, but I want to say it just in case somebody out there knows for sure. But remember, this is not, I haven't officially verified this, but I understand that over the last few months, people can remove less, from those teller machines, can remove less from their bank accounts than they used to be. I think it used to be like $1,000 a day you could take out, and I heard they dropped that amount and that is kind of worrisome if true because it would actually say that people are worried that they are going to start having things like run on the banks, etc. But people can look up. I haven't had the time to research it. Look up to see if that is true or not. So don't take that as Egberto said that is what they're doing. I said it because I want folks to look it up in case it is true. Yeah. Anyway, anything else, Howard or Jack?
Nothing from me.
Well, I pulled the bulk of my money out a couple of months ago.
Okay, good for
So,
you.
so
Anyway, folks, I want to welcome
it's not going to
everybody.
be worth much, but
Yeah. My $5 is safe here.
Yeah. You know, when they said, oh, they dropped from $1,000 a day to $750, I'm like, well, you know, that's a lot of money a day anyway. But anyway, let's get busy. Welcome aboard, Joanne from Los Angeles, California, Harry Denson from Missouri City, Texas, Lisa Blair, Atlanta, Georgia, and of course in our Substack, which started a bit late. It's never happening. How you doing, Deborah J, Jane B in North Carolina? I had a great book club meeting with JB in North Carolina last week. Love your group. Love your group, Jane. You guys are some great activists out there in North Carolina. Dissenter, welcome aboard. Richard C. Brown, Marnie, Don Morrow, Martin Flower, DeFranken. DeFranken Dementia. I love that name. Lauda Judy. We also have in the house Ben Frickrell, Carol Q, Valerie Nelson, Matley. Let me tell you something, guys. I had an eventful weekend. It was but you know, it was one of those busy weekends that made you happy because you saw people engaging. You know, a lot of great things happened this weekend. First of all, you know, Saturday, I told you guys on Friday that I was going to an event where Senator Amy Klobuchar was going to be, was going to talk to her, etc. Well, it turned out, you know, she's running for governor of Minnesota now. And with all the things that are happening in Minnesota, she decided not to come to the HPJC's JJR fundraiser function. And instead, she piped herself in over Zoom on a big screen, which she gave a great speech. I'll play that speech for you guys tomorrow because I have some other stuff I got to play today. But on my way there, I got a call from the leader of Indivisible, and she's like, Egberto, you need to be here. Where was she? She was out in spring at a Dan Crenshaw event, a town hall. And I imagine Dan Crenshaw, instead of having his town hall in Kingwood, decided to have it in spring, thinking that he would have a better audience. Well, that was not to be, because our great group, the Kingwood, the Indivisible Kingwood, led by Sindra Hendrickson and also co-led by Vicky and Christina and many other great older and younger women, they were out there to challenge him on the lies they knew he would take. Now they got well, I tell you what, let me go ahead and play that interview that I did yesterday with Cindy when she came over here to dump a lot of video of the event that was just too big to do over the internet in a speedy way. Let's take a listen. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, and you know, let me formulate this here. Cindy Hendrickson, who is the leader of the Indivisible Kingwood group, called me up yesterday and said, hey, you need to be here, but I was going elsewhere. I had to go to the Democratic JJR dinner to meet Klobuchar, who turned out couldn't make it.
Oh, no.
Well, but we got some great people out there that we still got to talk to. So I tell Cindy, hey, please get a lot of video and all that good stuff. She just brought over, what is this, gigabytes of data. Yeah. And she said, I got to come and put it on your computer. So I'm processing in that. But in the process, she started to tell me about what occurred at the Crenshaw Town Hall in spring, which he believes should have been more friendly to him. Tell us what happened. First of all, what did you do to go out there?
What do you mean, what did I do?
You know, what made you go out there? That's not your part of town. Your part
It's
of
not
town
my
is
part
Kingwood.
of town, but Kingwood Indivisible, we go wherever our congressman goes. So, he didn't like the reception we gave him when he tried the town hall here in Kingwood. So I guess he thought he'd go to Montgomery County in spring where he might have a friendlier audience. So we went out there. I put an event up on Mobilize and we had 50 signups. I don't know how many people were in the room, maybe about 100, but I would say 2/3 of those people were very angry. I thought it would just be us, but it was the whole room. The whole room.
I want to stop you there because this is what I want to say. Cindy used to, when we go out, she's running this stuff out there. And when she goes out there and I go out there to film them, a lot of times she would say things like, I hope this is going to work. I hope this is going to work. And I always tell her, I don't want to hear the word hope because what they are doing, what y'all are doing, making a difference. And this morning when she came over to the house, I had an article ready for her. She had already known about it, but an article ready to read. Mehmet in a very red district that
In
Trump
Tarrant
won
County.
in Tarrant County by 17 points here in Texas, won the state Senate race, something that hasn't happened in over 36 years. And what I try to tell Cindy is the work that you guys are doing and all the others are doing is what's getting that done. People are having permission to vote differently than they thought they should vote. And that's what it does. But anyway, we're talking about your Crenshaw visit. Tell me more.
Well, we came in, took our seats in the front, and I wore my body cam that I wear to protests because I wanted to capture whatever was going to happen for Egberto since he couldn't be there. So I was his cameraman. The room, I said, had maybe 100 people in it, which isn't all that many. I'd say 2/3 of them over a few moments time of Crenshaw speaking, we realized were not happy with him. So that was great. We came prepared with our red and green cards. He finally came in, took the podium, started talking about his flood remediation success in Congress, getting money for that, which is great, but that's all he ever talks about. So people started asking questions about ICE, DHS, immigration, boots on the ground with guns and masks, and he couldn't handle it. Red cards were going up, and he got a bit nervous. We also brought a few posters with us that were 8.5 by 11. So when he started talking about how much he supports DHS and ICE and he thinks it's a good thing, we threw those up. They're not very friendly. He looked pretty shocked. His hands were shaking. He would not answer questions directly. An immigration attorney stood up. She wanted to explain to him about people here under asylum are covered by the Constitution and cannot be picked up. And he wanted to argue with her. She was enraged. She was a Republican. She said, I have voted for you in the past. I will never vote for you again, and stormed out. He said, well, you're being rude. You need to leave. It was just unreal. He mocked us. Of course, he mocked us for wearing masks, but we were wearing them for health issues. We don't want to get the flu. And he was trying to equate that with ICE wearing masks. It's like, dude, really, it's not the same thing.
I want to interrupt you there because they did the right thing, because we know a lot of MAGA, whichever MAGA, even though against MAGA is dwindling these days, they don't take vaccines.
No, they don't.
So they did the prudent thing in wearing a mask out there.
Right. You just don't know. But he thought he was going to have a lot of support, I suppose. I think he was a bit shocked. And so he left 20 minutes early. He was supposed to be there till 5, but the heat was on. I mean, you'll see the videos once Egberto process is done, but the crowd was not happy.
Well, let me, there's a story that you told me that I think everybody here needs to hear. And that is the First Amendment story that you told me about the cops, the signs, and what they deemed that. That's, I think, is a very important story.
Yeah, I'm very proud of my group. Everybody is just amazing. We didn't just have people on the inside of the town hall. We had a group of folks that don't belong to District 2, but they're in our Indivisible group. They chose to protest up on the street, the entrance into the park where this facility is located. They had signs of fascism out. They had protest signs. They had a flag. the Montgomery County Sheriff or constable came up and told them they had to move. And they were on an easement, a public easement. So my people were great. They said, "Are you citing us?" And he said, "No." And then he said, "Your signs are offensive." And they said, "Well, that's a matter of opinion, and it's our First Amendment right to protest, and we are on a public easement, and we are not moving."
I am going to flash one of the signs that you guys were using. That it is you. If you can get it on there, maybe we can see it. But I don't want to put it on too long because who knows what the AI would do when they see the sign. I thought it was like a great sign that showed what's happening. There you go. I'll put it closer. The camera is right there.
Where are we?
There you go. That I thought says it all, and that should make Crenshaw cringe.
He cringed when I flashed this at him. So, yeah, he wasn't too pleased.
Well, I mean, you've been doing a whole lot of the signs, and thank you for doing that. But anyway, in closing here, tell the audience why it is that not only folks like you, because you weren't an activist in the beginning, you were you were forced into activism. Why we all need to be forced into activism?
Well, we can't stay on the couch. Look what's happening. And what I see is that incrementally we're getting more people out. More people are speaking out, which is important. We can't just hide in the house. When we started, we had a handful of people. Now we have a pretty smooth group. And in fact, Crenshaw made fun of us. He says, "You guys think you're organized." But the way we work, we're pretty fluid. We can throw down a protest in a matter of minutes. We drive around with stuff in our cars. We're always ready to go. And we are ready to bring people with us. And I have folks emailing me through our website saying, "How do I get involved?" Okay, this is what I want. I want everyone out there. Crenshaw thought we were all liberals in the group. I told him, I said, "No, we're not all Democrats. We're not all liberals. That's what you don't understand. You do not know your audience. Your audience are Americans that want to retain the Constitution and our freedoms that are afforded under that document."
I mean, I think that's a perfect closure. And folks, that's why you have to get activated.
You do.
Cindy Hendrickson, leader of Indivisible Kingwood. Keep up the great work.
Thank
This
you.
is how we win.
Right?
This is
Thank
how we
you.
win.
Yeah, but I'm going to get the another one of her crew brought over another set of videos from the outside. Cindy gave me them from the inside, and I think Vicky has some more from the inside as well. But Fred brought some over yesterday afternoon that were clear, and he has the interaction between them and the officers and the First Amendment, etc. We're going to do that. I want to talk a little bit about Mehmet in a little bit, but I have another video. Yesterday morning, I get this call early in the morning with somebody. She called and she's screaming in my ears, "Is this true? It looks like It was our great friend, our how should I call it? Our wonderful friend Arnie Arneson. She read about Taylor Mehmet winning in the Senate race in Tarrant County, and she's like, "You should be excited." I said, "Wait, let me make sure that they're not going to try some sort of hanky panky." And I said, "But I tell you what, if this stuff turns out, let's do a quick conversation about it, okay?" She said, "Okay, Egberto, just give me a call up and we'll do it." So yesterday, I want to play what we did, what we spoke about with Arneson, because she has been great in following Texas politics. In fact, she used to have the Brad Report on every Friday. Well, listen to her. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. I'm honored today to have the host of The Attitude, the one and only Arnie Arneson out of New Hampshire. You know, she is also a former politician who ran for governor. Look, she's a staple in progressive media, and I'm just happy that on a Sunday, she's here to discuss with us the monumental change that is starting to happen right here in Texas. Arnie Arneson, how you doing today, my friend?
God, I woke up people to tell them what happened in Texas at 7:00 in the morning. I was so let's remember, Egberto, I have been covering Texas since Rick Perry ran for president and he was under indictment. And because I cover presidential politics, both nationally as well as from my state, because we do the first in the nation primary, I decided I needed to reach out to Texas, and we started a segment called Indictment Watch. I swear to God. And I have never let go. I've been doing it every week since then. For how many years?
Now you are in New Hampshire covering Texas. I mean, I think we have to feel honored that this young lady is actually following. And I remember you used to have Brad on every Friday.
Single week, every Friday. And now we have a variety of voices, including the publisher. It's been so exciting. But in a lot of ways, you've taught me a lot. Okay. Because so much as Texas goes, so goes the nation. And now I have a national show. And so I'm heard in New York, I'm heard in Seattle, and I'm teaching them about the importance of Texas. So it's not just that I follow you. I'm actually elevating why people need to focus on what's happening in Texas. So the story of this weekend is, I wrote this on my Facebook page. Ready? How do you spell earthquake? Fort Worth is in Tarrant County, the biggest, reddest county in the United States. And a Democrat just beat a Republican by what appears to be a whopping 14 points.
14 points.
It's an earthquake. It's an earthquake. And again, what is so important here is that, so I heard some commentators say, oh, but it was a Saturday election. Can you refresh everyone's recollection? This was not just a Saturday election.
No, it was not.
You have early voting. Tell people when you could have started voting for what happened on Saturday.
Look, let me tell you, with all the voter suppression that we have in Texas, where people are first of all, you cannot register online. You have to register 30 days before an election. The Republican Party is great at ensuring their people are registered. The Democratic Party, not so good. So therefore, for that win that Arnie just told you about to occur, many things had to fall into place. But let me answer her question directly first. In Texas, you have early voting. You have a lot of time to vote. I mean, it's about being able to vote, but you have a lot of time to vote. And what Republicans normally do is Republicans are normally same day voters. So there's no excuse at all, right? Mm-hmm. We had early voting. We had same day voting. And I haven't looked at the record to see what the disbursement was. But when you have a 14-point win in a Republican district, that means you had a lot of Republicans voting for a Democrat. In other words, it's not just that they're apathetic. It's that they want something done. And that is a monumental shift in Texas.
And I wanted to remind everyone, and you've heard it, Donald Trump won that district by 17 points. Yes. That means it was a 30-point swing. Everyone, a 30-point swing. That's unheard of. That's unheard of in this very red county where a Democrat hadn't won in over, 40 years?
36 years.
36 years. So this, but I also want to remind everyone who the Democrat beat. First of all, let's look at the Democrat. The Democrat was a union leader. The Democrat was a veteran. I mean, be still my heart. This is like the absolute perfect individual I would love to see run everywhere in America. Okay. Because I am a union baby, but better than that, who did he beat? And I want to just read to you from the Texas Tribune, because I think this is really important, because what he did was he beat a conservative activist whose advocacy in recent years had helped make Tarrant County basically a testing ground for socially conservative policies in Tarrant County. Let me continue. Long active in GOP circles, she rose to prominence in 2022 when she helped the GOP fill North Texas school boards with candidates who held Christian conservative views. The movement's success resulted in an explosion across the U.S. of book bans, rewriting of curriculum, and basically, separating church and state disappeared. So it's not just his win. It's who he beat. Oh, Egberto, I used to give speeches for, Americans United for the separation of church and state. What you don't know is I was going to be a Methodist minister. All right. And I ended up
I didn't know that.
I know. I ended up not picking up a pew, but instead I changed my pulpit to what? To people. to politics, to policy. So, and I understand the separation. And you know why the separation is so important? This is a great statistic for your audience to hold on to. America has more places of worship per person than any country in the world.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's because we celebrate that separation. We invite you here from all over the world to come into this melting pot, but allow you to find your faith or not have a faith, allow you to find your future, whatever it is. That has been the history of America. And what has Trump been destroying? What have the conservatives been destroying? So who he beat is as powerful as the fact that he won.
But I want to add to that because, for those people who think this is a one-off, just like she changed school boards to make them more conservative, we have actually started the reversal. The Cy-Fair district over here, they had an election where the governor got involved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we still beat them with new progressives on this board to take control of that school board. And it's a big school district. Yeah. So for those who think this is a one-off, the one person who knows it's not a one-off is Abbott. Abbott is throwing over $14 million in Harris County, for which yesterday we were talking about that. And the person was a bit concerned. I was at the Johnson dinner gala last night as a fundraiser for the Democratic Party in Harris County. I was there as a press. And what was interesting is this person seemed a bit concerned about the money that he's putting in. And I said, I want him to dump all that money in Harris County. Please put it in Harris County, because Harris County is not rural America. They're not easily fooled like rural America. And if you're putting that money in Harris County, that means you have less money to lie to rural America. And then I spoke directly to the entire Texas chairperson. And I said, I have a report that I'm going to send to you, because right now, I understand many folks are saying, let's just activate the base. But we don't want a base win. We want to go into every single corner of Texas and do something about it. And he says, send me the paper. Now, whether he does something about it or not, I don't care, because let me tell you what we are going to do. Just before I got on with you, I had Cindy Hendrickson next to me, who was at a Dan Crenshaw town hall. And at that Don Crenshaw town hall, which was in a conservative area, there was about 100 people. And she said about 65 to 70% of them turned out to be against what he was doing. But more than that, there was an attorney, a Republican attorney, who tried to school Crenshaw on exactly how asylum seekers are supposed to be treated in the United States. He made fun of her. She left there irate and said, I voted for you. I voted Republican. I'll never do it again.
Look, the harm is happening everywhere. We just did an interview last week about a woman from Florida who started Latinos for Trump. She is horrified by what she sees, because she basically said Stephen Miller is going to kill this Republican Party. Yes. So she literally identified Stephen Miller, which I think is so interesting here. But more importantly, she's frightened for her son. Her last name is Garcia. Okay. Mm-hmm. She's frightened for her son because he may be picked up because he looks Hispanic. And I went, excuse me, you are Hispanic. I mean, you don't look, and what I think is so interesting is we're suddenly seeing, the Hispanic population has always believed in three things: faith, family, and work. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. And on every level, guess what, Egberto? He's undermining all those things. Yes. All those things. So I just want people to understand that this is not about Republicans or Democrats. It is really much bigger than that, because you're absolutely right. I'm not asking you to vote for a Democrat. What I'm asking you to vote for is a return to something that you recognize as democracy, return to something that you realize as an opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The opportunity not to be afraid in your schools, not to be afraid in your streets, not to have an economy that's being crashed all over the place. I mentioned to you before, the level of international tourism that is going to disappear overnight is unbelievable. And for a lot of states, tourism is the number one industry. In my state of New Hampshire, numero uno. Okay, mm-hmm. Tourism, number one. Guess what? We've already seen a 30% decline. And and I'm just telling you, that's just one aspect of what he is doing to harm us. And I think in the end, when you start looking at your wallet, when you start looking at your school, when you start looking at your children and your community and realizing how destructive it is not going to be a choice between a Republican and a Democrat. It's going to be both a rejection of what he does and an opportunity for people who I'm hoping are good candidates that not only speak about what's wrong, but talk about a vibrant future. We need something more positive.
I couldn't end it in a better spot with that statement. That is the marching orders, folks, and Arneson has just given it to you. Thank you so kindly, Arnie, for spending this impromptu, quick Sunday interview set up. It's my honor to have had you on Politics Done Right.
I'm joyous. Thank you, Texas.
Thank you, Texas. You guys in Texas kicking butt. Welcome aboard, LBW, La Profesora. Thank you for being here. Hey, Cindy. Cheryl Elkin said, Cindy, you are an inspiration. A solidarity from your protesting cousin in Massachusetts. Deborah it says everything you need to know about Crenshaw, that he loves what ICE is doing. That from Deborah J. Folks, remember, this is a call-in show. Give us a call as well. 713-526-5738. Repitiendo, 713-526-5738. But we got a lot to talk about. The next topic that I want to touch on is Taylor Mehmet. Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick were scared about this election. They said, we are in trouble. And, Abbott has a huge amount of money in his treasure chest. And he intended to use it. He thought he better use it in Harris County because we're Harris County. If Harris County produces what it can, what's got to happen around Texas, we all know. It will be an immediate switch to a blue state. If Harris wakes up, Harris County, if you wake up, Texas is who you say Texas is. So they're trying to suppress the votes. They're trying to take over our voting, the voting in this county. They want to use a new law that was passed in Texas so that they can come and take over these elections. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes that few know about, but it's happening. But folks, it doesn't matter what they do. If you come out in volumes, you make things happen. You make things happen. Seems like Jimmy's on the line. And folks, telephone number 713-526-5738, extension number 2. Come on in, Jimmy.
Hi, Roberto. This Saturday, the West Houston Democrats Club hosted a candidate forum at the Tracy G. Center at noon on Saturday. The parking lot was completely full. You had to park on the grass. There were probably 500 people there.
Wow.
Each candidate got about 3 minutes to introduce themselves, tell what they were running for, and why we should vote for them. It was really a wonderful gathering of people who are going to vote Democratic, and they also supplied pizza for everybody. So it was a wonderful event. And we got to know, see all the candidates and so forth. So I'm really happy the event was so popular and went off so well.
Wow.
Incidentally, I've written also in the New York Times that Texas is the number one state for people to move to from other states. Our population continues to grow. Each 10-year period, they reallocate the number of members of Congress, and 1 year we gained 4 congressmen. Other states lost members of Congress. So Texas, they come here, I guess, for a lower cost of living. Maybe they'll earn industry jobs. I'm not sure, but they...
Yeah, I mean, we are Texas is a great state, and yes, the cost of living is lower, but there are reasons why the cost of living is lower. And believe it or not, though, as more people move into Texas, the cost is actually going to go up. So right now it's great. People educate themselves elsewhere. And it's a natural thing to do, Jimmy, right? If you make your fortune somewhere else, your fortune can go further in Texas because it's a low cost state. It's a low cost state because there's no income tax there, but for the average Texan, it's a high cost state in that they don't get a whole lot of things that other states get. So it's a complicated matter. But anything else you want to say real quick, Jimmy?
I remember California has a much higher cost of living. Homes out there were double the price here. They were 40,000 when they were 20,000 here.
Right.
So they're all much higher now. But anyway, we're living in a great state. We need to take advantage of it. Everybody needs to vote. And
yes. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, my brother. You have a great one, Jimmy. We'll talk tomorrow. All right. LBW says Remit is just proof that it doesn't matter what dollars you have in your war chest. If your policies no longer align with the values of we the people, I hope that is also proven in November for multiple candidates. It will if we do our job, LBW. I have no doubt. I like I told Cindy, we're not hoping. We're not hoping. We're not hoping. We are making things happen. We're making things happen by the actions we take today and tomorrow. We make things happen. Patty, line number 2. How you doing, Patty?
Doing well, thank you. And I agree with Arnie. I'm so proud of and happy about what happened in Texas over the weekend. And my call to my Republican representative here in Michigan today will be that for years I've been warning him that his aiding and abetting of MAGA and their criminality is losing Republican voters, Abraham Lincoln Republicans, Dwight Eisenhower Republicans, Teddy Roosevelt Republicans are now voting Democrat because of the lawlessness and the inhumanity of this administration. So congratulations, Texas.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Patty, because I tell you what, and it's happening. Texas is just sort of like a bellwether. It's happening all over. I mean, we saw it in New Jersey. We saw it in Pennsylvania. We saw it in Alabama. We saw it all over. It's happening, and people are starting to see what it's all about. Anything else you want to add, Patty, before we move on?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, Patty. Folks, the telephone number 713-526-5738. All lines are empty. 713-526-5738. LBW says, I need anyone to boost Tucker Clayton's content on social so he can beat Sid Miller. He has been endorsed by the Texas Progressive Caucus, and I'm excited about him. I spoke to him on Saturday, LBW. He's a great he's a great guy. He was telling me, he said, because he's going to be on our show, right? And he said, hey, I was in my barn with my goat was. This guy's a real rancher, man. This is, it's not an act. This guy is a real rancher. And he goes ahead and he says, I was on my ranch birthing a I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but birthing a goat, okay? And at the same time, he was scheduled for a podcast. So he's on the podcast with the new goat, the baby goat that was just born in his hand, still with the afterbirth on, and he's holding this goat. So I looked and I said, hey man, do you have that picture or that video? That is something I think people need to see, because again, there's this fallacy that the workers, the good people, the farmers are hard working Republicans, and that maybe somehow you think you don't have Democratic farmers as well, or people like care about the land as well. And he's I think the word is antithesis of that. I mean, look, it is so important for guys like Clayton to to run, Tucker Clayton to run, for them to see what it's all about. Let's throw Augie on while you get the other one, Jack. Augie, how you doing this morning, my brother? How are you doing this morning? Augie will be on in a second. Um, yeah, but so speaking to Clayton over the weekend was great because you saw what folks were really all about. All right, let's have Augie line one.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm feeling great because people are waking up now to what's going on. If some people didn't vote for, like I said Friday, Hillary, Trump would not have been president the first time, and people didn't like Kamala, so they didn't vote for her. If she had been around, we wouldn't have Trump right now, and probably Renee Good and Alex Preddy would be alive. The 5-year-old and his father would not have been shipped down to Texas, and a lot of the other things happening. So we got to rise up. We got to stand up. We got to go vote.
That is so true, Augie. The funny thing about it, or I shouldn't say funny thing about it, it is that so much would be different as far as people's economic well-being, etc. What irks you is that we have to pay the price for those who vote vote a candidate for all the wrong reasons, whether that be prejudice, whether that be sexism, and all the other isms, and then they try to put it on, well, they didn't inspire me. Are you kidding me? Continue, please, Augie.
Yeah, and also about economics. The currency is starting to go down in the currency market. The dollar is. Everybody's turning against us. Europe, our allies, and
Right.
And China is where everybody's going to England and Canada.
Right.
Their leaders are going over there, and we're losing our reputation.
Well,
in
you
the
know
world
what?
now because of what
We
happened.
are, Augie, I got to run to John, but let me just tell you this. And the thing about it is Donald Trump is saying the opposite to people. People need to do their research on their own to figure out those states that are bordering Canada, they're suffering because of the tourists are not coming over. I had a friend from Norway says we're not coming to the America anymore. We're scared to come to America. We're having the Olympics game and all these other issues, and many people think we are not coming there at all. But Augie, I got to run to John, so let's talk tomorrow, my brother. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's go to John. Come on in, John. John, you're
Hello?
on.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Say, I don't know why they go in there with, like, stormtroopers. It reminds me of Waco and Ruby Ridge. It's ridiculous. But then again, I remember 911, and the hijackers were here on expired visas. So we need a balance here to enforce some of the immigration laws, but we need to do it in a humane manner, in an organized, humane manner.
And the funny thing about it, John, is we knew about the possibility of planes being used as bombs back then. We just didn't follow the lead. And we're doing the same kind of things now. There are probably real terrorists in this country that came over the border and came by plane. But because we have a fetish of getting rid of a particular set of people, we are blind to those who are really wishing harm on America. And that will happen because all these throwing away all these hardworking people into detention centers is not the answer. But while we're spending all our efforts on doing that, what do you think the people that really wish us harm are really doing? Anything else, John?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Let's go to, is this my good friend Melissa Bowie on line number 3? Let's see.
You better believe it. How you doing, love?
How you doing, beautiful? Nice to hear your voice.
How are you? I just wanted to call and say that I was activated this weekend. Saturday, my main one, Magnifi. But I was out there. I didn't know that. You know what protesters do? They're so brave. They're so bold. The ones that are sitting there in the cold. I stood out there for 2 hours on the corner of MLK and 610.
All right. That's South Park, right?
myself, go vote. At the shrine they had the voting center there, and just trying to get people to be activated. But I know that Original Timmy's got more lines than the shrine did have cars. So I was like, at the Original Timmy's, you sitting in there, you waiting for your food. I was all up in the food place, like, yo, you don't have a representative. Go vote after you get your chicken.
Wait. Are you talking about Timmy Tam?
No, Original Timmy's is it's right on the corner of MLK, where the Shipley's is, right across the street. It's always packed with people.
Because that's that good fried rice, right? Is that the place where you get fried rice and a chicken wing?
I don't know what it is. I've never experienced it. I try to, I'm on a budget. I cook at home.
I hear you, girl. I hear you. But I mean, if it's that place that they used to call TV Tanks, I mean, the greasy fried rice is actually cheap and good. But and they give you a lot to feed a whole family, man. But that's why you see that line long out there.
Yeah. So I was just letting you know that people are waking up. We're getting out. We're out there. We're getting activated. But there's a meeting that's happening. I'm going to call you at 3:00.
Okay.
To tell you about the meeting, but it's a community meeting happening in the third ward, and I really would like people to come out. I don't care what color you are, come out and hear what's going on.
Well, look, Melissa, you don't know how happy I'm here to hear your voice and to hear that you are out there on the corner of MLK and 610. That is big that you're out there, girl.
I want to tell you, I don't know what it is in the skies, but it could have been. That train station closed 3 times with no train going through. I don't know what it was, but every time I walked that way, then it went up.
All right. Okay.
But it went down. The rail thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The thing that stopped cars. Yes.
Trying to block it. I mean, it was trying to block people, but it wasn't happening on my watch. But I'll call you back at 3:00.
Thank you. You have a great hearing your voice, Melissa. Anyway, folks, look, let me tell you, when you see all folks all over activated like that, it warms the heart. That's all I can tell. We don't have any calls right now. So, Jack, prepare to tell me something if you have anything to add about what you saw with the way people were out there and their spirits, etc. I want folks to feel encouraged to know that we're not hoping for anything. We are making things happen. Jack, I saw the picture that you said, and that you not imagine when I saw that pic and the folks behind you and their faces of resolve. I was like, man, it's gonna happen. Anyway, Jack, the floor is yours.
Yeah, that was a good group. That's my peeps there. They showed up to support the man that was picked up in Conroe and detained in Crenshaw, Texas. They're ready to throw down their money to buy attorneys and do all that stuff. And this is a group of activists I hang with, and the protest out there, it was cold, so the crowd was kind of low. There were at least 200 people out there. And then Alex Constantino and Cameron Rolwitz, I introduced myself to them and talked with them a little bit. It was very peaceful. Everybody was pro getting ice out. And I also noticed this morning that the people at the Grammys were pushing back on ICE and all this authoritarian stuff, and that goes nationwide. That was a big boost. That was a big saying, okay, it's okay to be against this.
Yeah, it was funny that I didn't see it. I didn't watch it live, but I saw the clips where Bad Bunny went and said no ice. So that was interesting. But thank you for that, Jack. Anyway, folks, look, let me tell you, we're about out of time here. I have so much to bring you, but because we don't want to only take the time out, but we want to get some calls in as well, there's other stuff that I'll play for you tomorrow. The Amy Klobuchar speech at the JJR event I thought she nailed it. And I just thought it gave a lot of spirit to what needs to be done going forward. I have been over this this weekend, the totality of this weekend, from the Taylor Mehmet win in a very red district to to what occurred in Montgomery County with Crenshaw, to what is occurring elsewhere. I can't tell you guys how much you all are actually doing to take your country back. And this isn't the false take your country back that we had when MAGA was talking about take your country back and don't threat on me. Cindy said it best at the end. This is not about Democrat and Republican. And I see what you're saying, Harry. This is not about Democrat or Republican. This is about wanting live our constitutional life. And the most wonderful thing to see is these different ideologies coming out together and saying, hell no. Hell no. We'll fight another day. We'll fight about big government and small government some other day. We'll fight about welfare or not some other day. But what we ain't gonna do is allow you to change this country into something to move this country back. Folks, you can reach me directly, kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Rest of the program at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. A federal court blocked more